days and age, that was over 2,000 years ago. It was not like we have here now. We have paved roads. You know, even the pavement where you should walk is concrete. Just think about the setting. Think about the setting. And in those days, when you became afflicted with such things as blindness, leprosy, you are automatically relegated to being a beggar. You become an outcast, a social outcast. People stigmatize you. Some people even think of you as being a sinner. As we see in the scriptures, I think it is in John 9, in verses 1 to 3, when the disciples were moving along with Jesus and they came across this man who was born blind. Straight away, it was the disciples now asking Jesus, who sinned? Was it this man or his parents? So they took it for granted that once you are in that condition, you must have committed sin. But Jesus answered them and said, no, neither him nor his parents sinned, that the works of the Lord may be glorified in him. So there are situations you may go through sometimes. It's not because you have committed sin, but that God will glorify himself in you. Bartimaeus used to sit by this roadside. It must have been maybe a dusty road. It may have been hot. The road sometimes will be hot. Sometimes if there's a little bit of rain, it may be muddy. In the winter, it may be cold. He was confined to that miserable situation. Maybe some relative or some friend was doing him the favor to bring him there every morning, place him there by the roadside, and maybe take him home back at night. And you know what? Some of them may even have been exploiting him out of his mega begging resources. That is what the world does. When you are in trouble, when you are in misery, they want to make you even much more miserable. They come and exploit you. That must have been Bartimaeus' situation. That was the situation. But what happened? Jesus was coming from Jericho with his disciples. That's what the scripture tells us. And alongside was a great multitude. You know, and by the way, Jesus, this is the last miracle recorded in Mark. He was moving on to his death, where he was going to be persecuted and killed on the cross. This was the last miracle recorded by Mark. Jesus was on his way there with his disciples. And that was the time of, I think it was the Passover feast, so a lot of people will have to move. Israelites will go to Jerusalem to observe the feast of the Passover. So Bartimaeus was sitting by this roadside, and there was this multitude passing by. Bartimaeus must have been hearing the chattering, people talking. This one talking about his husband, what he did yesterday. That one talking about his wife. That one talking about his children. That one talking about his money. That one talking about this, his difficulties he has tried. He must have been hearing, sitting by the roadside. He positioned himself strategically because as a beggar, you have to sit somewhere where people could pass, and those who have mercy on you can give you something to eat, maybe some food or some coins. So Bartimaeus was sitting by this roadside, hearing a lot of things. But despite everything Bartimaeus was hearing, he chose to focus his hearing, I say his hearing antenna, on hearing that Jesus was passing by. He heard a lot of things. But this is where he decided to focus his attention, hearing that Jesus was passing by. Jesus was passing by.